What's going on, everybody? I am continuing ranking every episode of The Office, and I'm doing 17 through 11. So this is the second to last episode. The next one will be the top 10, and that's it. So we are in the nitty gritty, the really, really good ones. Let's get into it. Number 17, season 3, episode 1, Gay Witch Hunt. Michael apologizes to Oscar after he finds out he's gay for calling him a homosexual slur, but his apology outs Oscar to the entire office, and Jim decides to take a promotion at the Stanford office. So this is the season 3 premiere. At the end of season 2 was maybe one of the most important episodes because it was where Jim finally told Pam his feelings for her, and he kissed her. And in the cold open, we find out what happens there. And what happened was he kissed her, and she told him she can't do this, that she is still gonna she's still gonna get married to Roy. So what happens is Jim takes the job in Stanford, and he's in Stanford now, and we're introduced to Karen Filippelli and Andy Bernard. So two major characters, at least Karen was in season 3 and Andy for the rest of the series. So Michael was using a homosexual slur, and Toby said he couldn't use it, and then he told Michael that Oscar is gay. What? He's the HR guy. Don't you think maybe that's something that should have stayed secret? That's a private matter. I mean, I think that's a major violation by Toby. What are you doing? I don't know. If an HR person has a secret about someone, are they going to just tell anybody? That's crazy. There's one theory that he did that to Michael on purpose because he knew Michael would tell everyone, and then that would get Michael, in trouble or fired or something like that. So maybe that's a chess move by Toby. I don't know. We also find out what happened with Pam. So Pam ended up not getting married. She said she called off the wedding a couple days before. Then we cut to Roy, and he said that basically he's been in bad shape, that he got a DUI, and he vows to get Pam back. So there's the update. Jim in Stanford, Jim played a prank on Andy. He put Andy's calculator in Jello, just like he put the stapler in Jello. He put Dwight's stapler in Jello in the first the pilot episode. So, but Andy does not handle this well. He gets angry and he kicks a trash can. So not the best reaction. Creed has a great line. He says, "I'm not offended by homosexuality. In the 60s, I made love to many, many women, often outdoors, in the mud and in the rain. And it was possible a man slipped in and there would be no way of knowing." Oh my goodness. Creed is just the best. Creed is just the best. So when Michael finds out that Oscar is gay, he is the world's worst secret keeper, and he basically tells everyone. And Angela is acting like Angela is acting, well, she's kind of how you would expect her to act. And she's just freaking out. And finally, Michael says, "Okay, everybody off conference room," and they have a meeting, and Oscar just tells him, "Get away from me. You're small and you're stupid." And he says a lot of things, and then he says, "I'm sorry." And he said, and then I don't know what the script was, but what ended up happening was that I don't know if they were supposed to kiss or whatever, but Michael just kissed Oscar on the lips, and then Dwight got up to kiss Oscar also. Apparently both of those things were not scripted, so everybody's reaction to that is totally legit. So that is that's amazing. Earlier in the episode, Michael and Dwight called Jim and Stanford and asked them about Gaydar, and Michael said, Jim said, "Oh, it's sold out." But then he sends Dwight a Gaydar device, and it's just a metal detector with some labeling on it, and Dwight sets it off. He's like, he puts it near Oscar, and it goes off. He's like, aha, it works. And then he puts it near him and it works too. So he's confused. So what ended up happening in the story is instead of suing them, they offered Oscar the company car and 3 months vacation or something like that. What really happened was Oscar went to work on another show. It was called Halfway Home. So this was a creative way to give him a break from the show. Number 16, season 7, episode 21, Michael's Last Dundies. Michael hosts his final Dundies as the boss of the Scranton branch, but the tension is in the air, and D'Angelo Vickers, the new boss, is having trouble with his co-hosting duties. So in the cold open is, and I don't know if they did this every time for the Dundies, but Michael and D'Angelo would go to everyone's house to give them their Dundie nominate that they were nominated for a Dundies. It was a plaque. They go to Stanley's house, and Stanley says, "Get off my property." They go to Toby's house, and Michael throws eggs at Toby's house. They go to Meredith's house, and it looks like a house of horrors. It looks like a hoarder's house or something like that. And she's coming home from going who knows what. She looks like she's doing walk of shame. So the actual Dundies were it was blah. This whole episode was kind of blah, but it is saved by one of the greatest scenes in the entire series, and that is when they all sang to him. D'Angelo had horrible stage fright. He was just absolutely horrible at it. And Dwight was really upset because apparently Michael didn't even recommend him for the job. And so who knows what happened there, but he was really upset with Michael. So anything Michael would do with him, if he gave him an award, Dwight would just throw it away. He was just really upset. Ryan did not get hottest in the office. He went to the new sales guy, Tim Cordray, or whatever his name is. Aaron won an award, and in the acceptance speech, she just dumped Gabe. She said, "Gabe, I think we should see other people and stuff." So, but really, so it's kind of a blah episode, but it gets saved by the song at the end. And apparently Steve Carell knew that there would be a song that they would sing to him, but he didn't know what the song was. So he didn't know anything about this. So they rehearsed it without him. And the song was like, I think it's called Seasons of Love or something like that. It's a parody of that. And it's just beautiful. It's I'm not gonna sing. I'm not a singer, but 9,986,000 minutes. We actually sat down and did the math. That's how many minutes you've worked here in costumes and impressions and meetings and cups of coffee for our birthdays, more meetings and email forwards you made us read. 9,986,000 minutes. That's like watching Die Hard 80,000 times. And then this is my favorite part. Meredith says, "You hit me with your car." Ryan says, "You help me get off drugs." Creed says, "I watch you when you sleep." And Oscar says, "I forgive you for kissing me." And then D'Angelo does this beautiful little solo or whatever. And in the end, there's a talking head of Michael, and he says, "Yeah, this is gonna hurt like a mother bleep." It's just one of the most beautiful episodes, beautiful scenes in the entire series, and it just really made this episode. Number 15, season 2, episode 12, The Injury. Michael's injury from a George Foreman grill distracts the staff from Dwight, the one with the real injury. So in the cold open, Michael calls Pam and tells her that somebody needs to come over and take care of him because he burned his foot. And then Jim puts him on speaker, so the entire office is hearing what happened. And so everybody's laughing and just, nobody wants to come over and help. Dwight walks in. He's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And someone tells him that Michael hurt his foot. And as soon as he hears, like, "Oh my God, I'll go save you," and Michael's like, "No, not Dwight, not Dwight." And he rushes. He gets in his car. He rushes out and he speeds and he hits a telephone pole, and the bumper flies off. And he bumped his head, and he's out, and he's stumbling around, and he throws up on the car, and then he gets back in the car, and he goes to Michael. So then Michael comes to the office with his foot wrapped in bubble wrap, like it's about to be shipped. And Dwight just acts so weird on his computer. He just types Dwight over and over and over again. Also, he is super duper nice to Pam for once. He is just acting so weird. At one point, he just turns to Creed and he says, "Dad?" It's so funny. But Michael is basically saying that everybody needs to take care of him because of his injury, and nobody is. He has a meeting, and he brings in the property manager who is in a wheelchair. And he wants to show what an inspiration it is to be disabled. And the guy is just like, "No, I live my life. I do just about everything else, and so that doesn't go well. But they realize Jim and Pam realize that Dwight probably had a concussion. I think that the property manager said to Jim, "Is like, who's the moon faced kid or something like that." So Jim takes Dwight and Michael. Michael didn't want to go, but they insisted because he's the emergency contact. And he grabs the spray bottle of water. and anytime Dwight acts up, he sprays him with water like he's punishing him. Like, it's so silly. It's so silly. So they're at the doctor, and the doctor says to Michael basically tries to say that having a foot burn is more severe than having a concussion. And the doctor says, "Does the skin look red and swollen?" And Dwight says, "That's what she said." And Michael's like, "That's my joke, damn it, Dwight." So it was when Pam helped Dwight get out of the office and to the hospital. She basically said goodbye. She's like, Dwight's like, "But I'll be back." It's like, "Yeah, but it'll be different." It was just, she just liked so much that Dwight was actually nice to her for once. Number 14, season 3, episode 22, Beach Games. Mike uses beach day at Thunder Mifflin to find out which employee would be his most capable replacement, just in case he receives a promotion to the New York office that he applied for. Yeah, the cold open was not that good. Apparently, Michael thinks he's sick all the time, but then he gets a call from David Wallace that he's going to interview for basically Jan's job. So they all get on the bus, and they're all sing the Gambler, which is really cool, and then they also sing the Flintstones theme, which is really nice. So Michael does a hot dog eating contest and then a sumo contest. And when everybody finds out that the winner of these contests is going to replace him as the regional manager, Stanley goes crazy and he tries really hard to win because he doesn't want, he's like, "I don't want any of these idiots being my boss." So Andy is in the sumo outfit and he falls into the water, and then he just floats away. he's gone. So it's so dumb. So the main scene in this is there is a coal fire walk. There is a hot coals. Dwight just stands in the hot coals and says, I will stand here until you give me the job. Give me the job. Give me the job." Michael's like, "No." So and he falls into it. It kind of looked like Anakin Skywalker in Revenge of the Sith. but then when nobody's looking, Pam walks across it, and then in front of everybody, she she basically says what she's been thinking all year. And she finally stands up for herself. She says, "Hey, I want to say something. I've been trying to be more honest lately, and I want to say a few things. I did the cool walk. I did it. Michael, you couldn't even do that. Maybe I should be your boss. Man, I feel really good right now. Why didn't any of you come to my art show? I invited all of you. That really sucked. It's like sometimes some of you act like I don't exist. Jim, I called off my wedding because of you, and now we're not even friends. Things are just weird between us, and that sucks. And I miss you. You were my best friend before you went to Stanford, and I really miss you. I shouldn't have been with Roy. There were a lot of reasons to call off my wedding, but I didn't care about any of those reasons until I met you." And she goes on to say that it's okay that he's with someone else, but she really misses him. So huge speech by Pam. Number 13, season 9, episode 21, Living the Dream. Andy starts to believe he'll never achieve his dream while working for the company, and he plans to quit. Jim gives his relationship with Pam more thought after their marriage counseling and stays in Scranton for more time. Dwight finally gets his black belt, and after her divorce, Angela's new studio apartment sucks. So, yeah, Angela got divorced from the senator, and where she lives now, I guess they don't allow pets or something like that. I don't know, but they took away all her cats. So she looks like hell. She just absolutely looks terrible, and she's basically lost everything. All she has is, and also like, well, you still have your son. She's like, yeah, I guess. So she's in bad shape. Andy this is the arc where Andy thinks he's going to become famous, and he ends up becoming famous for a different reason. But he he thinks that it's better. Well, he talks to Jim, and Jim has decided to basically quit the company in Philadelphia and just stay in Scranton and stay with Pam and the family. I got a lot of thoughts about this. I'll say him in a minute. But anyway, he tells Andy, you should commit. You shouldn't do a couple things, don't spread yourself too thin. Devote yourself 100% to one thing. So Andy says, yeah, good idea. I think I'll quit my job. So Andy knows that the documentary is going to air in pretty soon. So he is going to, this is his shot at fame. And meanwhile, David Wallace comes down to fire Andy because he finds out that he's goofing off and not doing his work and making printing headshots and stuff like this. So he's just going to fire him. And everybody's telling Andy, don't do that. You're not that good. Please don't do this. So yeah, it's just Andy finally, and then so he decides to quit, and then he decides to stay on as a manager. Stay on as a salesman, but then he changes his mind again, and he basically says, I quit, and he poops on David Wallace's car or something like that. And so and Dwight, turns out Dwight's old karate teacher was just taking all his money. Apparently he spent like $150,000 over 20 years and never got a black belt. And then he found a new teacher and he made him a black belt instantly or something like that. And Dwight wanted to have the ceremony at work. And David Wallace talked to the karate teacher. He says, what do you usually do this? He said, no, but he insisted on doing this in front of everybody in the place he loved. And, he said he's tenacious. He's never known somebody that's more tenacious and determined. And David Wallace is starting to think, well, maybe you should make Dwight manager. And he talks to Jim. And Jim says, yeah, that's a really good idea. Dwight would be perfect to be manager. And try not to get emotional here. It's just so sweet between Jim and Dwight, because when Clark was talking to Dwight, and they saw that David Wallace and Jim were talking, Clark said, well, they're probably talking about taking, becoming Jim becoming manager. And Dwight says, that'd be great. I think he would do a good job as a manager. So they're at this point in the relationship, it's almost the end of the series, where they just, they've went from enemies to friends, and it's an awesome thing. So after Jim and David Wallace talk, David Wallace wants to talk to Dwight, and he offers him the job, and Dwight acts like just goes crazy about it. And he couldn't take it anymore. He jumped on the desk and says, I am now manager, and everybody's clapping and cheering, and Jim and Dwight hug, and it's a wonderful thing. When Jim came back, he wanted his old desk next to Pam, which is the entire reason he came back, to spend more time with his wife and family. And Clark's like, no, I don't want to move. And then as soon as Dwight becomes manager, he's like, get out of here. Get out. Go back to the bullpen. You're not ready yet. And Clark said, but no, that's so fair. It's like, no, get out of here. So Jim and Pam move in, walk together. I mean, are sitting together again. Yeah, that whole thing. I honestly, I hate Pam about that. I don't know. I just think that if your partner wants to achieve a dream, whatever it is, try something different, or try to make the situation better, you should support him. But she's like, no, you have to quit. You have to stay home. We have to stay in Scranton. Like, what is that? I think that's unbelievably selfish, just because she didn't want anything to change. Like, I just hated that so much. I really did. I hated it. Number 12, season 5, episode 25, Broke. The Michael Scott Paper Company is gaining clients and offering lower prices than Dunder Mifflin, but it's going broke in the process. However, Dunder Mifflin is losing clients to Michael and is desperate to buy him out. The cold open is Michael picks up Pam and Ryan at 5:30 in the morning so that they can make deliveries. And they are they're tired because they have to do this every day, but they are they're doing good business, because they're taking all the clients from Dunder Mifflin. So David Wallace comes in, and he says, Charles Miner says, everybody, guys, we're losing customers, but that's okay. And David Wallace says, don't worry, we'll figure this out. And Phyllis says, maybe, and I don't know, if you just returned Michael's call, none of us would have lost clients. And David says, I've been wondering about that myself lately. And David says to Charles, bring in Jim. We need to have a meeting. And Charles is like, no, Dwight's my guy. And David's like, really? What? Dwight? But they said, well, bring in Jim anyway. And Dwight's like, yeah, come on, afterthought. Michael, Pam, and Ryan go to an accountant to see if they can hire a delivery person. And the accountant says, you can't hire a delivery person because you're about to go out of business. And they're talking about, well, what are you talking about? We have the lowest prices. It's like, yeah, your prices are too low. And Ryan says, well, that's okay, because we have a fixed cost model. And the guy's like, no, you need a variable cost model, because as things change, your costs will go up. So Michael says, could you crunch those numbers again? And the guy basically just hits a button. Okay, crunch. And Pam says, did it help? Pam has this great line. When a child gets behind the wheel of a car and runs into a tree, you don't blame the child. He didn't know any better. You blame the 30-year-old woman who got in the passenger seat and said, "Drive, kid. I trust you." So, in the end of their meeting, so in the meeting between David Wallace and Charles and Dwight and Jim, they're talking about various scenarios, and David said, "You know what? The only option here, we'll see if they want to buy out." And in this meeting, Dwight keeps saying, "Let's get bees. Let's get bees and put them in the office or something." And Charles is looking at him like, "What the heck is wrong with you?" And it's yeah, Dwight just looks like an idiot. But Jim says he'll talk to Michael Scott Paper Company and see if they're open to a buyout. So he goes down to talk to them, and he knows, because he just talked to Pam, that they're about to go out of business. But Jim says, "I just want to know if your very successful company would be open to a buyout." And at first Michael doesn't get it. It's like, "Oh, Jim, but we're about to." It's like, no, I don't want to know. I just want to know, would you be open to a buy? And finally Michael gets it. It's like, yeah, sure, we'll talk to them. So they get on the elevator, and Pam and Ryan just say to him, "Just whatever you do, don't say that we're going broke." And Michael's like, okay. And then as soon as they get to the top of the elevator, Michael's like, "I can't do it. I'm gonna say it. Which is, with the way Michael is, can't keep a secret. It's a very real possibility. So they all walk into Dunder Mifflin, and he sees David Wallace or Charles or something like that. And Michael says, well, how the turntables. And then just nothing. This scene between Michael Scott Paper Company and Dunder Mifflin is maybe my favorite in the entire series, and this is my personal favorite episode of the whole thing. I loved the Michael Scott Paper Company arc so much, and I love this episode particularly because of this scene, because Michael was such an awesome negotiator. David says, "Here's the situation. Your company is 4 weeks old. I know this business. I know what suppliers are charging. I know you can't be making very much money. I don't know how your prices are so low, but I know you can't keep them that way. I'm sure you're scared, probably in debt. This is the best offer you're going to get." Michael says, "I'll see your situation. I'll raise you a situation. Your company is losing clients left and right. You have a stockholder meeting coming up, and you're going to have to explain to them why your most profitable branch is bleeding. So they may be looking for a little change in CFO. So I don't think I need to wait out Dunder Mifflin. I think I just have to wait out you." Damn, that's good. That is so good. I also like that Michael David Wallace says, we're prepared to make you an offer, and Michael says, "I reject it. Always reject your first offer. Give me your second offer." So the offer is 12,000, and then after they negotiate, they said, "Okay, our offer is 60,000 to buy you out." And they ask them to leave, and Michael, Pam, and Ryan are freaking out. It's like, "Oh my God, $60,000. And it's like, well, obviously we have to take that." For some reason, Ryan thinks all the money's going to him. I don't know what his problem is. But when they come back in, they say, "Okay, do you accept our offer?" And Michael says, "No." He says, "That doesn't help us. We need more. We need stable jobs. This isn't going to help us." And then Michael says, "Our company is worth nothing. That's the difference between you and I. Business isn't about money to me, David. If tomorrow my company goes under, I'll just start another paper company, and then another and another. I have no shortage of company names." David says, "Michael, that's another. That's one of them." "These are our demands. This is what we want. Our balls are in your court." Because they also asked, he wanted everybody to come back. He wanted Charles gone, and he wanted Ryan to come back. And it's like, Ryan committed fraud. What are you talking about? And Michael said, "This is what we want. Our balls are in your courts. And and he accepts that offer. And Charles is about to say in front of everybody, "Hey guys," to say bye everybody. And Michael says, "Nope, you're done." And he stands there and he puts his foot on the desk, and Jim points to him. I love it. I love it so much. Because when Michael wanted a goodbye speech, Charles, a few weeks ago, Charles said, no, you're done. So it was perfect that he got it back to them. Like I said, my personal favorite episode. I love this so much, and I love that scene so much. Number 11, season 4, episode 14, Goodbye, Toby. Michael throws an extravagant going away party for Toby and falls in love with the woman who is replacing him. Jim plans to propose to Pam at the party, but gets outstaged. Back at corporate, Ryan is arrested for fraud. The cold open was pretty funny. It was a prank that Jim did where anytime Dwight's phone would ring, Jim would pick it up. It would go to Jim's Bluetooth or Jim's phone or something like that. Apparently he talked to Dwight's mother and said, "Good news, mother, I am getting married," or something like that. So Toby is gone. I guess he's going to Costa Rica or something like that. And Holly Flax comes in, and this is the first time Holly and Michael are introduced, and they are just so, she's basically the female version of Michael Scott. She's just such a dork, and they are so adorable together, and I love it so much. And they immediately hit it off, and Michael says, "I think I'm falling in love with her," and Jim's like, "Stop it, no, go slow." Pam gets a message that she got into art school. So at the beginning of, and this is, I think, this is the end of season 4. It was only 14 episodes because of the writer's strike. So this was the season 4 finale. And so Pam got into art school. So she'll start season 5 in art school. Dwight, I don't know why Dwight doesn't like Holly, but he plays a prank on her by saying that Kevin is mentally challenged, and so she's being really nice to Kevin, and Kevin thinks that that she's in love with him. So Michael was really looking forward to this exit interview, and then so he's doing it. And he's really probably just gonna really let Toby have it. But then Holly and Pam walk in. Holly walks in because she's HR, and Pam walks in because she's taking notes. So everything has to change. And all the questions he was asked have to change. And at one point he does the I've seen this meme a bunch of times. This GIF where he's covering up and he's whispering, "I'll kill you," to him. He gives him a present, a going away present, and it's a rock with a note that says, "Suck on this." and Holly and Pam are like, "Oh, that's horrible. How can you do that?" And Michael's like, "Oh my goodness, what a horrible thing. That's who would do such a thing?" And he's like, "The actual present is, here's my watch." So he gave him his watch. So between Michael having all kinds of extra money, because the party planning committee said, "We don't have the money for an extravagant party," and Michael just pulls out a whole bunch of money. It's like, "I've been waiting for this to get rid of him, so here you go, let's have a big party." And then Jim paying for fireworks because he was going to propose to Pam. So this is a big elaborate party. It's like a carnival going on, and it's a wonderful thing. During the party, Dwight tries to play a prank on Holly by putting a raccoon in Holly's car, and he gets caught, and so that doesn't look good. Michael sings the song, "Goodbye, Toby, it's been nice." It's a pretty good song. There was a whole thing with Phyllis. I think Angela quit the party planning committee because she said there's no way we could have an elaborate party or something like that. And so Phyllis put everything together, and she did a great job. And But she told Kevin, hey, go to um go to the store because we need something. We need more ketchup or something. I forget what they needed, but he went to the store, and when he went to the store, he called Michael and said, you need to come here. And Michael's like, what is your problem? What do you mean I need to come to the supermarket? What are you talking about? I said, she's like, no, you need to come here. And the reason why is because he saw Jan. It's like, okay, who cares? But when he saw Jan, Jan is pregnant. And so Michael and Jan talk, and uh this gets really confusing. Apparently, while they were together, Jan got a sperm donor. Like while you're going out with someone. And she said in a talking head, it's like, yeah, if I was younger, maybe I'd give him a shot at having, one of my kids, but I'm older now, so I need to get this right or something like that. Like, jeez, she just treats him so horribly. Um, so he's not the father, but he decides to help her out with the pregnancy and pretend like he's the father. And I don't know. I don't know what's going on. So so as there's fireworks going off, Jim is just about to propose to Pam, but then Andy interrupts and says, attention everyone, I have my parents here. Angela, will you marry me? And Angela's like, okay, I guess, or something like that. It was just really bad. And Dwight was pretty upset. So um so Phyllis is sitting there, and Angela says, well, good party, but you'll never do this again. I'll make sure that you never do this again. And then Phyllis is walking back, going back inside the office to do something, and she sees Dwight and Angela having sex. And that's the end of the scene. So that's the end of the season. So yeah, that is it. All right. Next time will be the top 10, and that will be it for this little endeavor. So thanks for listening, thanks for watching. This has been so much fun, and yeah, can't wait to do the top 10. We're finally at the best of the best, and I'm so excited. So thanks for listening, watching. See you later.